So today we're going to be solving systems of equations using substitution. And our first example, y equals 2x plus 7 and y equals x are 4x minus 1. Now, both of these problems are solved for y. So that means that I'm just going to take 1 and I'm going to move it down, and I'm going to take the 2x plus 7 and I'm going to substitute that in for y. So I'm going to have 2x plus 7 equals 4x minus 1. So now I'm just going to end up solving for x. To do that, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. So I get 7 equals 2x minus 1. Then I'm going to add 1 to both sides, and I get 8 equals 2x. Now I have 2 times x, so I need to divide by 2, and I get 4 equals x. So I've just solved for x. I need to come back up and solve for y. So I'm going to use my first equation here, and I'm going to say that y equals 2 times 4 plus 7. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 7. 8 plus 7 is 15. So y equals 15. And then when you get your x and your y, you're going to box them in. Makes it easier for me to grade when I'm looking at them. All right? So I'll leave this here for a little bit longer. So that's example 1. Now we're ready to move on to example 2. And if you notice, equation 1 is in slope-intercept form, and equation 2 is in standard form. I can still use these, and it works very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 6x plus 7, because I've already got y solved for, and I'm going to substitute that in for y in equation 2. So I'm going to have 3x minus 8 times 6x plus 7 equals 4. Now, it makes it easier to keep track of signs if I change this to a positive and change the sign on the number. So if I make it addition and change the sign on the number. So I have 3x, and then I need to distribute my negative 8. So negative 8 times 6 is negative 48x. Negative 8 times 7 is negative 56. So I end up with 3x minus 48x minus 56 equals 4. So now I want to combine like terms. So I'm going to combine those two. 3x minus 48x is negative 45x minus 56 equals 4. So now I'm going to add 56 to both sides. So negative 56 plus 56 is 0, so I get negative 45x equals 4 plus 56 is 60. So now I have negative 45 times x, so to move the negative 45, I need to divide. My negative 45's cancel to 1. So I get x equals, and I know I'm going to have a negative number, and 15 goes into 64 times, into 45 3, so I'm going to have negative 4 over 3. So that is x. So to get y, I'm going to come back to my y equals 6x plus 7, and I'm going to substitute negative 4/3 in for x. So I'm going to have 6 times negative 4/3 plus 7. And I can write 6 as a fraction, 6 over 1. So I can say 3 goes into 6 twice and into 3 once. So then I have 2 times negative 4, which is negative 8 over 1, which is negative 8, plus 7. Negative 8 plus 7 is negative 1. So y equals negative 1. So we have example 3. And example 3 is 3x minus y equals negative 1, and 6x minus 2y equals negative 2. Both of these equations are in standard form. So I need to solve one of them for to put it into slope-intercept form. And I'm going to choose to do equation 1 because the y doesn't have a coefficient in front of it. So I'm going to have 3x minus y equals negative 1. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides, and I get negative y equals negative 1 minus 3x. And because I have the negative sign, I want to get rid of it, so I have to divide everything by negative 1. So negative divided by negative is positive, so y equals negative 1 divided by negative 1 is 1, and negative 3 divided by negative 1 is 3, so I have y equals 1 plus 3x. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 1 plus 3x, and I'm going to substitute that in for y in equation 2. So I'm going to have 6x minus 2 times 1 plus 3x equals negative 2. So I'm going to change it to plus and negative. So I have 6x. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x equals negative 2. So now I'm going to combine like terms. 6x minus 6x is 0. Minus 2 equals negative 2. 0 minus 2 is negative 2 equals negative 2. Now, when I end up with a situation like this, because that means that these two are the same line. So the solution to this equation is not going to be 1x and 1y. The solution is going to be 3x minus y equals negative 1. So basically, all x's that make this true and all y's that make this true are my answer. So my answer to this is the line. So my answer to this is the line. Do a word problem. Example 4. And, all right. A vacation resort offers surfing lessons and parasailing. If a person takes a surfing lesson and goes parasailing, she will pay a total of $175. On Friday, the resort collects a total of $3,101 for activities. How much does each activity cost if 16 people go parasailing and 20 people take surfing lessons? So what I need to do, probably the most important thing, is to define my variables. So I'm going to say let x equal, and I'm just going to put them in order. The first one here is the surfing lesson. And I want to know the cost. So I'm going to say x is the cost of a surfing lesson. And I'm going to say let y equal the cost of parasailing. All right. So if the person takes one surfing lesson and goes parasailing, she's going to pay $175. That's my first equation. I have one surfing lesson, and the cost of that surfing lesson is x. So I'm going to have x plus she goes parasailing, and the cost of parasailing is y equals $175. So that's my first equation. My second equation, so the first equation takes care of the person. The second equation I'm going to use takes care of the resort. The resort collected a total of $3,101, and they had 20 people take surfing lessons. So I'm going to say that 20 times the cost of the surfing lesson, x, plus 16 for parasailing, so 16 times the cost of parasailing, which is y, equals $3,101. And I need to solve one of these for y so that I can plug it in. Which one am I going to solve for y? Equation 1 or equation 2? Equation 1. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. So I get y equals 175 minus x. I'm going to take my 175 and I'm going to substitute it in for y. So I'm going to have 20x equals, or plus 16 times 175 minus x equals 3,101. So I'm going to have 20x plus 16 times 175 is 2,800 minus 16 times x, so 16x equals 3,101. Now I'm going to combine like terms. 20 minus 16 is 4, so I get 4x plus 2,800 equals 3,101. I'm going to subtract 2,800 from both sides. So I end up with 4x equals 301. I'm going to divide both sides by 4 so that my 4's cancel to 1. And I get x equals 301 divided by 4 is 7525. So that is x. I need to solve for y. I've already got it easy to do. I've changed it around, so I'm going to say y equals 175 minus 75.25, and that's going to give me 99.75. So the cost of a surfing lesson is $75.25. The cost of parasailing is $99.75. And your assignment is these 3 problems.